but I'm very happy to be here and also to host this together with the Think Impact production. And I am delighted to see so many of you celebrating this very historic, important week, the first ever EU-Sámi week, which brings the Sami culture and heritage to here in the heart of EU. And I'm so happy for this. This afternoon, we are going to be inspired by the story of Norwegian Sami activist and pop singer ELLA MARIE HAETTA ISAKSEN, who takes action against a mining project that is threatening to destroy parts of her heritage, destroy parts of her land. This is very important, and Ella's story is a wonderful example of how the young generation is celebrating their Sami roots and heritage and identity, and also fighting against climate change, fighting against natural disasters, fighting against all of this, and fighting for human rights, equality, well-being of Sami people. And this is extremely important. And I hope that this would all be also a lot better reflected in the values of the European Union and the European Parliament. This is why we are here today, because we are willing to show the European Parliament and the politicians that we have the power here in this room, that you have the heritage, you have the culture, and we are willing to do so much to protect that and also to protect the whole planet that we live in, especially the Arctic nature. And this is very, very important that we are making this kind of week and showing our colors to the decision makers and everybody in Europe. Thank you all so much. It is a pleasure. And now we will move to watch the film, I think.
Thank you very much, Alviina. We've just seen the clip, and what we're now going to see is a short message from Ella, who would have loved to be here. And it really saddens her that she can't be with us today, but it's so powerful and a testimony of her mission and the film. Given that it's not released yet, we wanted some words from her, and then I'll bring everyone up for the panel.
Hello, my name is ELLA MARIE, and I'm very sorry that I couldn't be there today, but I really wanted to express my gratitude to all of you for showing up today to discuss this very important matter. I really do believe that in a time of climate crisis, indigenous voices are more important than ever. The areas in the world where biodiversity is best preserved is also the same areas where indigenous peoples have guarded and protected the lands. And I obviously don't think that is a coincidence at all. So I wish you all the best of luck to today and for the rest of the EU-Sámi week.
Well, thank you, Ella. I'd love now to bring everyone up to the lovely panel up on the stage. So if I could re-invite Alviina Alametsä to join us on the panel. Thank you very much. Could I invite Alametsä Blindheim? Could I invite Christina Henriksen as well, please? Thank you so much. Great, if I sit on the end there, that would be wonderful. So I've got a wonderful panel here. As I already introduced the member of the European Parliament, I also would like to introduce Christina Henriksen, who is the president of the Sami Council. And we also have online with us Åsa. So I wonder if we can get her on the screen. Brilliant. She's from Nature and Youth, and she has been involved in the battle against the Repa Fjord as an activist, and we'll hear more from her a bit later on today. So we are, as they say, women fighting for the truth here on this panel today, ladies and gentlemen. But let me start with you, Christina. I mean, this is really an epic, historic moment this week. The first ever, I think it's just ready to go, I think. This is the first ever, EU-Sámi week. It's a historic moment. I'd love just to hear from you a little bit. What does it feel like? What does it mean to the Sami Council and to the Sami people that this is happening right now this week?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for the invitation and for arranging this as a part of the EU-Sámi week. I feel like it is the grand finale that we humbly tried to plan for when we started this project, and seeing that so many have come from Sápmi to learn about the EU and the relationship between Sápmi and EU, and also to see all the Brussels, the more or less local Brussels people coming also to display their interest in learning more about Sápmi And we talk a lot about challenges because that is a great part of our daily life. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm a bit overwhelmed actually to be in Brussels and to see this actually taking place.
Well, that's just incredible, you know, to bring the colors that you bring and life that you're bringing. I mean, I suppose, Alviina, what does it mean to bring all of this knowledge and this empowerment from the community? How do you think that's going to influence policy making over the next week? What do you think will happen as a consequence of this incredible moment?
Yes, thank you. Maybe it's better. Yes, thank you. I definitely think, and I hope it has an impact. I think that many of the decision makers in the EU are not aware of Sami rights, Sami culture at all. So I think this is something that we are trying to change, and I'm really happy that all of you are doing that exactly at the moment. And for example, when I was negotiating the Arctic report in the European Parliament, I noticed that there is a severe lack of knowledge. And this also leads to the fact that the Sami rights are in a very bad position. And we need to definitely fix those rights right now. And I hope that this week will contribute to that.
Thank you. Could we raise the volume of the other microphones if possible? Sorry, because we can't hear, but just as a thank you very much. You worked on the Arctic report. I'm just going to throw it back to you, Christina, a minute before going to Ursa. What does it mean then that, you know, you say you hope that these voices are integrated in those reports? What is your mission in this week with reports like the Arctic report? What are you hoping to achieve as a community here in Brussels?
Well, this week is the beginning. We spent so many years now preparing for this, and we will launch an EU strategy this week. But at the same time, the EU has been welcoming, I must say, and when it comes to both the views that we have shared. But again, it's so massive, the EU system. There are so many things to give our voice to, because so many of the decisions made in the EU system has an impact for our daily life and our existence as a people. So we need to have a strong partnership with the EU institutions, with the politicians, and with the great machine that is the EU, to make sure that whatever good intentions does not mean that it's harmful for the Sami people, such as we have seen in the past with lack of knowledge resulting in seal bans being devastating for the Inuit people. And also, I think that the Green Deal could have benefited from some partnership with Sápmi from an earlier stage.
So, such strong interventions there, such strong perspectives. And I think there what's crucial I see is the collaboration, the fact that, you know, Sami knowledge will be coming into the policy making. So there's a collaboration there between Sami and non-Sami at the high level when it comes to the political level. Well, now I turn to Ursa, who also is collaborating with the Sami community at the grassroots level. You know, she was involved in the protests there for the Repafjord. And I would think it's so important here to hear from you also. What does it mean to be co-creating a protest together as two different communities?
It means a lot. The Repafjord case really is it really is environmentalism and a Sami rights issue coming together. So it's so important that we are able to unite these. It's not really different perspectives, but even though maybe different points of views, and that we have amazing people like Ella who combine these perspectives in the one and same person, because really what we can see, and as Ella said in both the documentary and in her message, indigenous communities live so sustainably and have sustainability as part of their culture. And that is so important that it's brought into the majority society environmental movements, because this is the way we need to keep thinking we are guests on this earth, and we need to take care of it and not destroy our fjords with mining waste or build down our nature with roads and recreational areas. So yeah, it's so necessary to continue this collaboration, because without it, it would be impossible to really really make an effort.
I think that's so interesting. You know, you talk about the collaboration actually leading to understanding sustainability, which has been in the origins, right? And actually in Sami heritage and culture, from what I understand, what I'm learning from the spirit of the Sami people is really knowing exactly what you need, right? And that co-collaboration and how we could actually go backwards to go forwards, right? But, you know, I think what's interesting here, Alametsä, is really to understand going to that co-creation process. What about your journey with Ella? Why did you decide to make this film her story? What was that co-collaboration process, and what journey are you taking together?
I'll turn this mic. Oh, it's working. Thanks for having me at Sami Week. It's an honor. To your question, Danielle. Well, as I mentioned before, I saw Ella at the top of the newspaper VG, when she said she would chain herself to the machine when the day came. And I was thinking, okay, this is a person who is really feels that something is at stake, and who is very brave and willing to sacrifice something, because it's more comfortable to be an artist and just be an artist. You don't have to be an activist. Not many people do that. And I think I thought it was very inspiring. And like her, I share her love for nature. And I was also very, very curious, because the question I wanted to ask her was, the main question is, why are you fighting for Repparfjord? What does it mean to you? And the film tries to answer this question. And the answer of the question has many dimensions. It's on a personal level, it's on a historical level, and it's on a political level, both environmental politics and Sami politics. And I think that these perspectives and views that she has really deserves to be lifted and heard by a lot of people. And if I can contribute to that, it would make me really happy.
And why film? Why do you believe film can have a powerful role as a mediator between all different communities? Do you think this story will bring those different voices to achieve that real compromise and change?
I hope so. I've tried journalism. I love that. This is a different language. Here you can use pictures, even music, if you're so lucky to have a pop musician as a participant. And I think you can read a lot about cases like this. You can read a lot of history, and you can read about people. But how about to try to see what it's like, to try to create the images and to show the images, because not many people have been to Repparfjord. Is a remote place. Most people haven't even been to northern Norway, or even say to Norway or the Arctic. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people also in Norway who doesn't know much about Sami culture. And I am amongst those. I'm learning now, and I think it's very interesting. And I think that majority people from the majority community, such as myself, should try to educate themselves and ask questions and be interested.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think there you really embodied, we're trying to feel in this film a bit like Ella, what's at stake? And I'm feeling the Arctic breeze enter the room in this very, very warm place. What's at stake, right? So now we're on the Arctic, Alviina. Would you tell us a little bit, obviously you're the shadow rapporteur on Arctic issues. what is the role of geopolitics currently at the moment playing in the context of this discussion with the Sami people? Is there even openings or are there closures? You know, we cannot deny that we're in a very tough time in Europe with this, the situation we're all facing with Ukraine and Russia. How does the Arctic play a role, and how do the Sami people play a role in that?
I think that we are indeed in very, very difficult times. And yes, as you mentioned, and I'm also working in the Foreign Affairs Committee and as a coordinator of Security Political Committee here in the European Parliament. And this is a very, very difficult times that we have now, but also those that are ahead. And what is core of interest for me is that these ancient lands and the nature and the heritage of the Sami people and other peoples is not being sacrificed for some kind of power play of big guys with big guns. And I think this is a major issue that we are facing today. There is a lot of egoism. There is a lot of willingness to risk everybody's life and the whole planet, and use power in a way that is unethical. And this is what Putin does. And also these increasing tensions in the Arctic area are a great source of concern. And I think that the EU must now do everything in its power to support these peoples who are fighting this kind of autocracy, and also to support the peace in the Arctic region, but also all over Europe. And I think we still have a lot more to do. But these are the priorities. And of course, we must not also forget climate crisis that affects the Arctic region more severely than any other region or in some standards. And I think that this is something that is also a crisis for us, not only a traditional security policy. So we live in a challenging times, and now is really the right time to raise the voices of the Sami people.
Thank you so much. I think there is a natural transition to Christina. Do you think, are you worried that the current geopolitical situation will not elevate all the incredible work you've done, or do you believe there is a chance to raise this platform and tell us more about what your mission is there with the EU-Sámi knowledge gap projects, etc.?
Well, both, I think. For reasons that we haven't created, some of our people are living on the other side of the border, and they are not here because we cannot provide funding for them to be here because they have the wrong citizenship. Occasionally they are by coincidence, more or less, when the borders were drawn, some stayed in the Kola Peninsula. So obviously the geopolitical situation is affecting the Sami community. But at the same time, we have a lot to offer. And with this being hopefully a temporary situation, the Sami Council continues the work and continues to share our experiences and our visions for the Arctic future with the EU, in the Arctic Council, and all other body that we are engaged in. Hopefully, Sápmi won't turn into some massive militarized zone due to the current geopolitical situation. And I hope that the EU is also clear on that when shaping policies regarding the North, that although some member states might join another organization, we have no more land to give away for military activities, as we don't have any more land to give away to wind power plants or mines. So I think that continuing the dialogue and listening to the voices that have joined us in Brussels for this week. We have a massive delegation of Sami youth from 3 countries who are here because, like Ella, they have a burning wish to contribute in shaping the future.
I'll take your words there. Like Ella, there are people here this week that have a burning wish to shape their future. So Åsa, you know all about that burning wish of civil disobedience. Why do you think civil disobedience plays such a role in the Repparfjord case? And why is it that young people today, united, feel that need to act?
I think it has a lot to do about not feeling heard or seen, because as a young person today, there is so many depressing and stressful news about what our future is going to be like. And when we see projects that are so obviously wrong, like the Repparfjord project, where a fjord is being destroyed and reindeer pasture grounds that have been there for thousands of years are also being destroyed, it's really disheartening. And when we this project we worked on for more than 10 years before resorting to civil disobedience. We've filed complaints, had demonstrations, media, everything. We tried everything, and we're still not heard. So in the end, we'll say, okay, you won't listen to us, but we still know this is wrong. And the law we break by chaining ourselves up to a construction machine, it's not as big as the destruction of the nature, because the nature is what keeps us alive. We need it in the future, and it's getting more and more destroyed. And I really think this, it is the feeling of not being heard that leads to civil disobedience. And so many big fights in history have been fought with civil disobedience about racial issues, environmental issues, injustices all over the world. And civil disobedience really is a democratic way for people in a minority to be able to stand up to the majority that doesn't listen to them. And this is why, especially in environmental issues and indigenous rights issues, it's often used and it's effective and so important to keep doing, because, or unless they actually start listening to us from the beginning. And it's just an important tool, and it's so inspiring to see, as in the Repparfjord case, it is actually working. As of now, the building permit of the company that was supposed to start a mine there has been withdrawn. And we can really see, if we keep fighting this important fight, we can make it.
Amazing also. So here really it's the civil disobedience is about being heard. So Anna-Mata, what you're bringing Ella's voice out to the world, you're allowing her voice to be heard. What do you think we can learn from her story?
A lot of things. I think we can be inspired to what you can achieve if you try in peaceful ways to make yourself heard. I think also a lot of people can learn about Sami history, Sami values, which I think is important and not too well known in Scandinavia, as I mentioned. We can learn about how what was going on in the Repparfjord. There wasn't too much media coverage, and I think it's interesting to document the process and how nature and youth and the Sami community work together in this big solidarity operation. A lot of things. I'm sure there's more as well. I have learned a lot about all of these things because I'm curiosity based, and I've never been to Repparfjord, never been to Finnmark before 2 years ago. So I had a lot to learn. and I'm over 40 years old. It's a shame. There are so many like me. And it's a pleasure to, if I can bring some knowledge out on all of these topics, then I'm happy, you know.
Amazing. I mean, here we've got art and culture meeting together. I think just maybe a few words from everybody on the power of art and culture to make waves for social justice. What do you think, Alviina?
Yes, I think that we must face the reality that is that, yeah, it's okay. We must face the reality that there are many politicians, many decision makers who actually do not want to protect the rights of the Sami people. And this is of a big part something that they don't know about it, then this is the reason. But also there is a lot of prioritizing of capitalism, prioritizing of mining companies, of different kind of environmental destruction with some capitalist profit. And I think this is a major issue. And here I think that if there are any projects at all, probably there shouldn't be much, but if there are any at all, those should be definitely going to the pockets of the Sami people, you know, and not those big companies that are just destroying our planet all the time. And I think that this is exactly the issue. And this is what ELLA also shows, and everybody who is activist here, that we have to fight against this kind of thinking. And by showing our values, I hope we can do it. And I think this is a part of this kind of journey.
And what about for you, Christina? What about the power of art and culture and film in your community to get stories out, to share with the world, to make a difference?
Well, in Sápmi, we are very fortunate to have great artists. We have just arrived, stopping over here from Venice, where the Nordic Pavilion this year was the Sami Pavilion, displaying amazing Sami art, but at the same time also displaying some of the challenges that that we're facing in Sápmi. So obviously that was also one of the main parts behind when we planned this, that what can we contribute within Brussels, and our art is one way. It's an very it's a good way of getting out the message to the audience that we wanted to have. And also I think Alviina is right in that profit is difficult to fight, but I think that what we can learn also is that alliances is so important, because in this room we have reindeer herders who have taken a time off from fighting for their right to actually maintain their livelihood. I mean, fighting with cabin owners every day, with fighting mining projects coming to their land, fighting against wind power plants that are built and forcing them to leave their livelihoods. But at the same time, we also need people like Ella and many other in this room who are not involved in reindeer husbandry or fishery or the traditional trades. But we need, so the Sami youth and the Sami activists and organizations are joining forces to fight for our future and our existence. And we are teaming up with nature and youth in some of the issues. Of course, we won't see eye to eye in every issue, and we won't see eye to eye with the EU on every issue. But we need to team up so that we can create positive partnerships and at least make decisions based on knowledge.
The beauty of democracy being compromise, and making that compromise and getting great actions for both all communities all around. It's a really amazing last few words there. Well, before I give some last few words, do we have any questions in the audience that would you like to ask? Anything about the film or about this upcoming week? Yes, excellent. This is a little bit quiet now, sorry.
Yeah, this one.
Thank you.
Thank you for this event and the EU-Sámi week. I was wondering where the movie would be available, how and when and how it would be possible to watch it, where?
Oh, thanks for the question. I'm happy that you're interested. Cool. cool. NRK, the Norwegian broadcaster, is showing it, and we're working on the international distribution. My producer Irene in the back knows the status on that. If anybody is interested, yeah, that's all I can say for now. We're quite early in the editing process, so yeah.
Could I quickly ask, are you going to release it on some documentary or underground movies platforms? You know, like there are big platforms with alternative movies. Are you planning to release it there?
I hope so. I hope they will be interested, but it's not been decided yet, so it's a bit early to say.
And if you would like to recommend some, please come and speak to us. And we'll make sure that we put them in our notes for where we should go. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the panel for a very interesting session here. I work for the Sami Parliament in administration, and I work a lot with the Nusir case. And it's a very frustrating situation for us, of course, in the Sami Parliament in Norway to deal with that, because what they are doing in the capital is counting money, like the panelists said here. So how can we get the next step from that to see the value of nature instead of earning so-called money that are social economic beneficials for the society as whole in Norway? But for us, it's not beneficials for the Sami people. So we are there with only the bad things with the mind. So we have the pollution, we have the destroyed Arctic fjord, and we have like reindeer husbandry, grazing land is being occupied by others. So how to come over that next step to explain it for the decision makers? That's a very difficult task to do, and the Sami people, we are such a minority. So I'm happy that like Anna Marte here is making that movie that make the others to see, the minority people to see what kind of struggle we are in. So thank you for that.
And thank you for your question before. I think, Alviina, I will give you the mic to answer that. But just before I do, I think it's important to say this is why we've partnered on the film with Think Film as impact producers, because what we do is we believe that we can elevate issues from a national interest story to a global interest story. This is not a Norwegian film. Yeah. This is a global, universal film that should be seen everywhere by everybody. And the idea is that we're taking films that are not just your classic, and I know my British accent, but not Anglo-Saxon Hollywood type films, yeah, but films that have real power and meaning with artists that are incredible, like Ella, who can really resonate, right? And we have experience in the political world of policy making, and so we do our best. And incredibly, Alviina has, even in this early stage, said, yes, let's put this film here, let's share, let's get Alametsä on stage. It is by giving art a space for people to debate and universalize an issue. And that's what we're hoping to do. This is just the beginning. So watch this space, follow the film. You'll see more coming. But let me pass the mic, because I think mine's doing a good volume.
Thank you. Yes, I definitely agree. Sorry about your I hope it's fine. Okay, so I definitely agree with you that it is a great beginning, and I think these were great questions, and especially it was a really good question about how do we actually make the impact and how do we make people see this all. And I definitely hope that the decision makers who work on the Arctic at some level would go to the Arctic. This is, I think, one core thing. Why don't people visit? They don't see the Sami land. They should go and see the Sami land. You know, I know that the Sami people are very welcoming, warm, and friendly to show everything in Sami land. I have experienced this, and I hope that definitely politicians would go and see it from themselves. If they cannot, then the next best thing is to show it by movies, culture, and this is what we are doing now. We are spreading the knowledge more widely, and I think that is very, very important. But first and foremost, I think that for decision makers, it is and it would be ethical to know what they are deciding about. And I genuinely believe that those people who put the profits of big companies, instead of our planet first and instead of our people first, they don't know what they are doing. So I hope that we can make them see the light.
Super powerful. We've got another question here before we close.
Actually, not really a question, but an opening to say, please come and collaborate. So I work, my name is Dorian Fedrigo. I work for Climate Action Network Europe. And although climate is, let's say, the big, obvious main interest of my organization, I'm very much working on the industry side of things. And so the mining, and what was talked about earlier about the European Green Deal, which could have had indigenous cultures reflections in there, is something that I'm living every day. And I'm looking for voices, all types, youth, activists, artivists, community, MEPs, to join us in these kinds of different views from what we hear from industry, which is very much about we need access to land and to materials in order to decarbonize our economies. It's insane. We are destroying in order to avoid destroying. And that is something that industry, heavy industry, has been saying for at least the last 3 years, if not the last 3 decades. And it's something that is winning. So please come and join us, reach out to me, to my organization, to see how we stop just treating this as a scientific issue. It is a societal issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think that brings us to a nice moment of closure. And I want to thank everyone for being here today. And I think the best thing about films and storytelling is that whichever perspective you have, we've inspired you to change, to move, to act from all different walks, all different communities. So we hope that today is just the start of something that we bring more alliances together of people to take steps and actions forward. And I'd love to just, maybe you'd like to leave a few words with everybody, maybe just 1 or 2 sentences for the room today. What, maybe something about the EU strategy. What's the biggest thing you'd like to see in there, Christina?
Well, we're happy to be to have had an impact on that. I'm not ashamed to say that, but that is a result of a good dialogue, and that is also my message. As Alviina is saying, you've obviously been to Sápmi. Come visit us, but first and foremost, talk to us, talk with us, and we understand that we cannot dictate EU's decisions or any other decisions, but at least we can provide some point of views that and some knowledge that would help hopefully make better policies and decisions.
So more Sami knowledge for better policy making decisions. We've got one action now. What about you, Åsa?
Mostly the same. Listen to the knowledge of indigenous communities, to scientists, to everyone who really feels the issues in their soul and in their everyday lives, and take those perspectives with you and take care of each other and the earth.
Amazing. So we've got use the knowledge, hear the knowledge, right? Moving on. Alviina, what message would you have?
I love the part take care of each other, because that's very important here. And I've also worked a lot in mental health field and tried to push mental health services for people. And
talked quite a lot about things that are taboo or somehow being hidden. And learning from that experience as well, I just wanted to say to all of us that let's not give up. Because when something is still a silent thing and it's not discussed so much, when 10 people talk about it, then the next day 100 people talk about it, 10,000, and then everybody talks about it. And I hope it's the way with Sami rights as well. So let's not give up and let's take care of each other.
Amazing. Let's break the silence now. Alametsä, final words.
Okay, so everybody said really beautiful things, and I can just sign on all of that, but I forgot what I was about to say.
We've got use the knowledge, hear the knowledge, break the silence.
Yeah.
Something you'd like to leave people with here
I
today?
agree. I was thinking something really smart, but okay. I'm looking forward to see all the other Sami artists at the exhibitions later. I know you have wonderful talents. I'm so lucky to be working with one of them, which is Ella. I think arts and culture can have a major impact, and I hope that your art and also the film we're making can help to broaden the discussion and to include these perspectives in many more people's lives.
Yeah, empower the artists that have got the right messages. I think, thank you so much, everyone. It's been super interesting, definitely for me. I hope it's been interesting for you, and reach out to us. We are just at the beginning of this journey. Thank you so much, Alviina, for hosting us. And yeah, keep going. It's the beginning of your week. Have a great week.